Nancy tonight because we've got some changes in the program. So we're going to have the Cold Guard come out, but I'm going to introduce Theo Christina Delatorre. And she'll come out. We're going to have her MC the event tonight. And then after that, we're going to start with the officers as opposed to the honorees tonight. Because we have the commissioner who honored us by being here. So we're going to do a little bit of change. So please welcome Christina Delatorre.
Please remain standing for the presentation of our nation's colors and the singing of the national anthem by Police Officer Gina Dinley.
Present, huh?
Oh, say, can you see me by the dawn's early light? What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose full stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sing the sad star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Officer Dinley. Please remain standing for the invocation by Pastor Deborah Jenkins.
Got to change. Deborah Jenkins is running late. Nancy, you're up.
Hooray, rest.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to read from Psalm 23 in the New Living Testament, and Bishop Rosario will do the opening prayer. The Lord is my shepherd, I have all that I need. He lets me rest in green meadows. He leads me beside peaceful streams. He renews my strength. He guides me along right paths, bringing honor to his name. Even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me. Your rod and your staff protect and comfort me. You prepare a feast for me in the presence of my enemies. You honor me by anointing my head with oil. My cup overflows with blessings. Surely your goodness and unfailing love will pursue me all the days of my life, and I will live in the house of the Lord forever.
Heavenly Father, we come to Thee as one people, redeemed and blessed with the knowledge of love. The love that overcomes this world to heal our community. We ask You, O Lord God, to create in us the strength and the power to change our community for the better. That there will be peace. Let our officers and everyone, O Lord God, that You have called in the different areas be protected by the power of Your angels. Let our communities, O Lord God, stand together as one community under one name, the Bronx. Here we are, Lord God, asking for Your divine guidance, Your wisdom, Your knowledge, so that we could live in peace and in harmony. In the blessed name of our Creator, we pray this prayer. Amen.
Hut and hut.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It's now my pleasure to introduce the members seated on your dais. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Seated on my far right, we have Commanding Officer of Patrol Bar Bronx, Assistant Chief Larry Kidden. Good morning. Police Commissioner of the City of New York, the Honorable James O'Neill. Commanding Officer of the 45th Precinct, Captain Thomas Frazier. 45th Precinct Community Council President, Robert Peter. New York City Councilor Scott Stringer. New York City Council Representative from the 12th District, Andy King. And Bronx District Attorney, Darcel Park. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to introduce the Police Commissioner of the City of New York, the Honorable James O'Neill.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's great to be in the Bronx, as it always is. I'm not allowed to have a favorite borough, but if I did have a favorite borough, everybody knows what it would be. It's really a pleasure to be here, and it's so important that we are here this morning to celebrate so much good that's going on in New York City and where New York City is. And whenever I speak about how we're doing crime-wise in New York City, I don't just talk about the NYPD. I talk about all of us. I talk about all 8.6 million New Yorkers. I talk about all of our partners. We have one of our great partners, Darcel Park, is here today. I talk about the elected officials. I talk about the FBI, the DEA, the ATF, the U.S. Marshal Service. I talk about the Eastern and the Southern District. So to see where we are in 2019, and it looks like there's some people that might have been in the Bronx way back in the 1990s. This whole city, especially the Bronx, has been transformed. And it hasn't been transformed by magic. It's been transformed by a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice. Next week, we're coming into Police Memorial Week. And it's important that people understand that New York City hasn't been changed because somebody waved the magic wand. There's so much hard work that's been going on for the last 29 years. It started with Mayor Dinkins when he hired an additional 6,000 cops in 1994 when Commissioner Bratton came here for the first time. And the police were allowed to be the police. We went after the criminals. And there's a very small percentage of the population in New York City that drive crime here. And that's what we've done, especially over the last 4 years with neighborhood policing. We put the same cops in the same sectors. We created the neighborhood coordination officers. This way we know who in the community is good, which is just about everybody, 99.9%, even higher than that, and who's committing crime. This way we can focus our resources on those people committing crime, especially violence. And we're down again in homicides this year, and that's hard to believe. You know, you look at 1990 when there were 2,200 homicides in New York City. In 17 and 18, there were less than 300. And as of this morning, we're down 4, which is a tremendous achievement. Now, you look at shootings. In 1990, there were 5,000 shootings in New York City. Last year, there were 750. As of this morning, we're up by 5, and I'm sure by the end of the year, we'll have that down again. And again, it's not just us. It's got to be everybody working together. And I want to thank the Community Council. I want to thank Bob and the board for what you do. You have difficult jobs. Let's give them a round of applause. Although he didn't give me a chance to even take a bite out of my eggs, but that's okay before he grabbed me up here. There's nothing better than a plate full of cold eggs and cold bacon. But thanks for having me here. I love the Bronx. I love coming up here. I've been up here a number of times. I've been to a community council meeting, been up to the Villa Marie Academy a bunch of times. And this is just an awesome part of the city. And just look who's turned out here this morning. Look at the number of people that are here. And I go to community breakfast all over the city, go to community council meetings. I had a town hall out in Queens the other night. And this is really representative of who you are as a community. And it's a great cross-section. I just want to thank all the members of the 4 or 5 that are here today for the great work you do each and every day. Can we give them a huge round of applause, please? know, when we get to sleep at night, they're out there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They're out, they're missing anniversaries, they're missing birthday parties, they're missing holidays, but they do it for one reason, and one reason only. And that's the reason why they took this job, because they wanted to do good. And they do that each and every day, and I applaud them. And I couldn't be more proud to be the police commissioner of absolutely the best police department, not in the United States, I'll go as far as say in the world. So everybody have a great morning, enjoy your warm food while I get back to my cold eggs, and thanks for inviting me up here. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Neill. It is now my pleasure to introduce the commanding officer of the 45th Precinct, Captain Thomas Frazier.
Good morning. A few thank yous first. Elected officials, thanks for being here. Police Commissioner, thanks for being here. It means a lot to us. Chief McCunin, thank you. The cops in the 4-5, thank you for being here today. The clergy, thank you. Community Council, Bob, Sonia, John, Yvonne, and Annie. Almost forgot it. Thanks for putting this together and your continued contributions to the community day in and day out in the 45th Precinct. It's acknowledged and appreciated. Thank you to the community for welcoming me as a commanding officer of the 45th Precinct. I got here about 3.5 months ago. And at this rank and this agency, you go where they tell you to go and you do what they tell you to do. If I could have picked where I wanted to work, it would have been the 45th Precinct. So not many people can say that in this agency, probably in all jobs, all walks of life. So truly appreciative of being here as a commanding officer. I'm humbled by it. It's been eye-opening in a good way and very rewarding. If I could thank the honorees today, the civilian honorees, for what you do for the 45th Precinct day in and day out. We appreciate everything that you do for our community. The 6 police department awardees, I want to thank you for standing out amongst your peers, and I'm truly honored to be on the same team as each and every one of you today. You guys are the face of the franchise. I'm not. I take a lot of social media pictures. Some of those pictures are pretty handsome, but I'm not the face of the franchise. It's the officers that are being recognized today that are. Their efforts day in and day out, building relationships with the community, and they're doing the actual real police work. So my hat's off to them. I can't thank them enough for what they do day in and day out. Also, I want to thank the police commissioner for giving me the nicest office in the Bronx out of all the precincts and the commands. And last but not least, we're experiencing just about 7% crime reduction in felony index crime year to date in the 45th Precinct. I'm proud of the work that's being done, and I look forward to great things ahead. I want to thank everyone for being here this morning. It truly means a lot to me. It means a lot to us. And I wish you a good rest of the day, and thank you again for being a part of this and helping us recognize and award people that truly deserve it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain Frazier. It is now my pleasure to introduce the President of the 4-5 Precinct Community Council, Bob Beater.
Okay, my biggest thrill is the fact that from Castle Hill to Co-op City, Throgs Neck, Pelham Bay, Country Club, City Island, Silver Beach, every community in the 45th Precinct is represented here today. We are truly one neighborhood, one community, one precinct that always stands together. And I couldn't be happier. I'm so happy of the honorees we have here tonight. My team has just been amazing. It's been a tough year for us with Joe not being here, because you realize how much he did. But we are just so thrilled to keep going here and have all this wonderful support. I really have nothing more to say. We're going to get on. We're going to change the program up a little bit, because the commissioner is here and they have their ceremonial evening with us, which we're thrilled to have. So we're going to start with the police awardees tonight, as opposed to the others, and the commissioner will help me out with that. And again, we're going to have our host, Christina Delatorre. Thank you. Okay, so we also have a special guest with us tonight. We have a retired detective, James McDonald, with us tonight. James McDonald was the patrol officer in 1947 in Westchester Square. My grandfather had Westchester Square Plumbing Supply in Westchester Square, right where the Lehman High School's football field is. And Officer McDonald then, not detective, but Officer McDonald in those days would stop in and make sure everything was all right. Dates back to the days when our beat cops would stop in and know every merchant on the street and everybody there. And I got the real pleasure of meeting him just a short time ago. So we wanted to do something special just for him. I wanted to say thank you for all the years in Westchester Square and the beautiful years he put into service. He retired back in '71. He's still in the community over in Silver Beach. So I want to do a special award. Commissioner, if you come up, we'd like to do a presentation for James McDonald.
Our next award is for Sergeant Major of the 45th Precinct. Sergeant Major was appointed to the department in 2009. He began his career as a patrol officer in the 46th Precinct and was quickly assigned to the precinct's conditions team. In 2017, he was promoted to sergeant and assigned to the 45th Precinct. In July of 2018, Sergeant Major was entrusted with the important task of transitioning the 45th Precinct and its officers into the new neighborhood policing philosophy. His hard work and meticulous attention to detail has paid dividends as the precinct is experiencing vast decreases in felony index complaints as well as quality of life issues. Sergeant Major continues to lead his team to improve quality of life for all residents of the 45th Precinct. Thank you, Sergeant Major. Our next award is for Sergeant Christopher Tabbing. Sergeant Tabbing was born in the Philippines and immigrated to the United States at the age of 9. Sergeant Tabbing fulfilled his lifelong dream of being a New York City police officer when he was appointed to the department in 2006. His initial assignment was to Transit District 12, and in 2015 he was promoted to sergeant. In July of 2017, Sergeant Tabby was transferred to the 45th Precinct, where his hard work and vast policing knowledge was immediately recognized. Sergeant Tabby was tasked to lead the 45th Precinct's anti-crime team, and since, his officers have been recognized on numerous occasions as Cop of the Month. His team has made multiple arrests for homicide, illegal firearms, and narcotics. Sergeant Tabby has the respect and admiration of his subordinates, peers, and his supervisors. He continually demonstrates the value of hard work and dedication. Thank you for the work that you do. Our next award is for Police Officer Garfield Reynolds. Police Officer Reynolds is one of the senior officers of the 45th Precinct, serving this community for 15 years. He has effected over 300 arrests during his extensive career. As a result of his hard work and dedication, Officer Reynolds has been chosen to be a field training officer, mentoring the younger officers in the quality of life issues within the precinct. Officer Reynolds is viewed by his fellow peers as a leader, a mentor, and a highly dedicated police officer who places the needs of the community and his fellow officers as his highest priority. Thank you for all that you do and your dedication. Jessica Gressinger. Officer Gressinger was appointed to the New York City Police Department in 2016 and assigned to the 45th Precinct in 2017. She is currently assigned as an NCO. During her short time at the 45th Precinct, she has been well received by the community and is often thanked at community meetings by many she has interacted with. This assignment has allowed her to continue to build those relationships by addressing her sector's crime and quality of life conditions. Thank you for strengthening the partnerships within our community. Officer Cummings entered the New York City Police Department in 2004, and in August 2005, Police Officer Cummings was transferred to the 45th Precinct. He was assigned to the 45th Precinct Traffic Safety Team in August of 2012, addressing traffic conditions while enforcing the safety concerns in line with the New York City's Vision Zero initiative. Officer Cummings addresses accident-prone locations by conducting directed patrols at these locations and forwarding intel reports to other city agencies such as the DOT. In 15 years with the NYPD, Officer Cummings has effected a total of 335 arrests and continues to address the safety of his residents. Thank you for all that you do, Officer Cummings. Our last awardee from the 45th Precinct today is Police Officer John Serrata. Police Officer... Police Officer Serrata was born and raised in the Bronx. He graduated Christopher Columbus High School and went on to join the United States Army, serving 2 tours in Iraq. He entered the New York City Police Department Academy in January 2006. In 2007, Officer Serrata was transferred to the 45th Precinct, where he has held numerous positions, including patrol, conditions, counterterrorism, and he's currently assigned to community affairs. Officer Serrata has been assigned to community affairs since September 2013. During this time, he has worked tirelessly to meet the needs of the people he serves. He is keenly aware of the needs of the community through endless dialogue and outreach. His level of professionalism exceeds respect of the community. Thank you for continuing to bridge the gap between the community and the precinct.
I got to figure out where I put my glasses. I don't want to be pockets. There we go. Before we start with our honorees, I want to say thank you to our sponsors. You know we keep the ticket prices very low. It's actually cost us more for the breakfast than we actually charge. But we have a list of sponsors here. A couple of them didn't make the print, but I'll add them in. And it's because of the sponsors that we are able to support the precinct, the Explorers program, National Night Out, Toys for Tots, and all the other programs that we do within the precinct. Last year we were able to get some bicycles for the precinct that we needed. The detective squad's got a new kitchen with our help. The programs go on, and it's all because of our sponsors. So first I'd like to start with our gold sponsor, Champion Elevator, who only heard about it recently and didn't make the program, but when they heard we were honoring Joe Boyko, they couldn't do enough, so they took a gold sponsorship, and that's something we rarely see, so I thank them so much. Going into our silver sponsors, we have Edgewater Park Owners Corp., who have been supporting us for many years, Havana Cafe, the Hutch Metro Center, who is always there for everything, Petro Fuel, River Bay Corporation, who again has always been sponsoring for many, many years, Schuyler Hill Funeral, Jim McQuaid. I don't think Jim was able to make it. Oh, there he is. He made it. Good, good. I wasn't sure if Jim was going to make it. I'm so thrilled you made it, Jim. Thank you so much for all your years of support. Spanish American Club of Co-op City, another old favorite. Again, every year they're there for us. And some company, Westchester Square Plumbing Supply. And of course, our very own board member, Sonia Feliciano. On the bronze sponsorships, we have the City Island Civic, New York City Health and Hospital, Jacoby, JP's Restaurant and Johnny's Reef, Lickety Split, Lobster House, City Island Chamber and Crab Shanty, and Tony's Pier, all from City Island. They're always supporting City Island. We have Cop Shop, thank you so much. Councilman Mark Jonai, Assemblyman Michael Benedetto, Providence Rest Nursing Care and Rehabilitation Center. And we have a brand new sponsor this year for the first time. And I'm very thrilled that they were able to help us out. Bangladeshi American Community Council. I'm sure many of you are aware that this has been a growing community. And it's so nice to see them become more involved in our precinct, in our community. And one of our honorees we'll talk about a little later is also very heavily involved in that community. and we couldn't be happier. So I want to thank them all. So with that, we're going to go into our honor readings. Sonia, if you come up and join me. And you know what? Maybe we should have all the board officers come up for Joe Boyko. Annie, John, Sonia, Yvonne. Joe was such a strength to this board. When putting together this breakfast, we realized how much he did, because it was an awful lot. And he will be sorely missed. I'm sure we missed some of the things that Joe did for us, because he did so much we weren't even sure of all of it. But we did our best to fill in without him. Joe was a great vice president. He was always keeping me on my toes, making sure I didn't miss anything. And he was very good at it. Joe served this community extremely well, not only in the precinct council, but also on the community board, where I also had the honor to serve with him. A real man of integrity, intelligence, strength. Joe was one of my favorite people. He was always clear-headed, thought things through, and was always a source of inspiration to us all. I'm going to turn the mic over to Sonia, who could maybe speak more about him in the terms of his service over in co-op. Sonia?
When I moved into Co-op City 18 years ago, the person who showed me the apartments said, you need to take an apartment in Building 19 on the 23rd floor, because there's a gentleman there named Joe Boyko that I'm going to introduce you to, because he's going to share with you about the community experience, and maybe you can join him in partnership. And that's what happened. Joe was my neighbor. He thought more about his community than he did himself. I will say that on the day, the night before he went into the hospital, he called me and he said, Sonia, there's some stuff going around here in the neighborhood. You need to get those benches fixed. You need to do this, you need to do that. So I said, Joe, I will take care of it for you. I will take care of making sure that our building is nice and pretty. I can't say more than to say that Joe was a friend. Joe pretty much introduced me to the community service of Co-op City. We started as a building association, a large building association, and then expanded into other things that I was able to get into, which is now being a board director for the River Bay Corporation. So I am deeply gratified at the fact that I got to know Joe. Joe was my friend. Thank you. Noel Ellison, could you just come up and say a few words about Joe?
Good morning. Recently at a funeral, a person came up with a quote that basically said, it's not what you buy, it's what you build. It's not what you get, it's what you share. And I always thought that sort of epitomized Joe. He shared. I doubt if there's anyone in this room that did not hear Joe mouth the words, you should have told me, I could have got it for you cheaper. In Co-op City, we can tend to be a bit provincial, whatever it means, selfish in a separate area, simply because we're almost an island, except we're surrounded by highways and malls. And we can get a little bit used to being in our own place, our own stage. Joe understood that the community is bigger than Co-op City. And as such, he became our ambassador, where he joined groups like the 45th Precinct Council. He joined groups like the Community Board 10. I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce Joe's sister. Would you stand up, Betsy Boyko? And I believe his cousins, Gabriella and Paul. Did I get your names right? So I don't know if I'm here to receive this award or give this award, but as a representative of Co-op City, I can say y'all have chose wisely. No one is more deserving based on the work that he does. We're thankful for it. We are thankful for Joe. We will miss Joe. But this award basically states that it's never too late to honor the service that one gives to our community. Thank you very much.
So Betsy, if you want to come up and accept the award, if you want to bring up your family, please feel free. And our elected officials who have some certificates, if you'll come up and join us. And the award says, Joe Boyko, posthumously former Vice President of the 45th Precinct Community Council. Thank you for your outstanding leadership and dedication in keeping this community safe and for your continued support of our police officers, making our community a better community in which to live. Thank you. Come on this way. I got some more certificates for you. Various electeds. We'll stick around, we'll take some photos, and then here you go. Stay here, stay here. Did you want to say a few words? Entirely up to you. Go right ahead.
Oh, thank you so much. Joe would be honored by this. He would love it. He would love the attention anyway. But he was so involved in helping everybody, the community. Even when he was an EMT, he worked for the River Bay Volunteer Ambulance Corps, and he got involved in the neighborhood and the community, and he loved it. And I know he would love this. And thank you so much for it on behalf of my sister and my niece and nephew. We thank you.
Thank you all. You guys can have a seat. I understand our control would like to say a few words. Scott Stringer, he's got to leave a little early. Unfortunately, Darcel Clark had to leave because she has a press conference today. So next up, I'm going to bring up Controller Scott Stringer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be at this extraordinary breakfast. And I am very honored to salute the people who really make a big difference in this community. My parents are from the Bronx. They live here to this day. And I'm a proud graduate of John F. Kennedy High School from the Bronx. So for me, being here today is just a recognition of our city. But to get down to business, 2 things I want to tell you. First, I have all the money in the bank. And another important job of the Controller's Office is to make sure that the pensions are strong for the city workers. And one of the special things I get to do is protect the retirement security of the NYPD, the people who sacrifice for us every single day. And I also want to shout out the leadership of the precinct, and a special shout out to our police commissioner. You know, he has done an amazing job in this town. We remember a generation ago when it wasn't so easy, and he has really created safe streets for our grandparents, our parents, and our children. Commissioner O'Neill, we salute you as well. As well as Darcel Clark, Andy King, and the leadership of this precinct council. So there's a lot of awards today, a lot of special awards, but there's only one award that I can present. It's called the Money Proclamation from the Controller's Office. So this is to the 45th Precinct Council on behalf of the 8.6 million people who live in our town, We salute the outstanding work you do, especially your leadership over the last 10 years. I'm proud to be here today. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, next up, I'm going to bring up Councilman Andy King. Councilman Mark Jogai was on the schedule, but unfortunately, he had a death in the family and had to leave the state. So we do have Councilman Andy King is going to be next up. Councilman, please give him a warm welcome.
Good morning, all. Peace and blessings. God is good, and all the time. I'm going to take a brief moment just to say thank you to the commission and welcome you to the Bronx. And yes, the Bronx is the best borough, and I know it's your favorite borough. Thank you. I want to say thank you for your leadership all throughout the borough of the Bronx, and to Frazier, Commanding Officer Frazier. We know you're listening. All right? So to everyone here, I want to thank you. I always say that people pay attention to people who participate. This breakfast has always demonstrated the essence of our neighborhood when you all show up for this breakfast. It keeps us strong. It keeps people outside of the neighborhood participating and paying attention to us because we show up and it always matters. And I want to say thank you. And also I want to end with this. You know, the devil offers moments of despair. And when he offers those moments of despair, it gives the Most High in Christ an opportunity to allow his love to shine. I say to all of you, when your sons come home with that trying moment, when your daughters come home crying in that moment of despair, when your husbands and your wives who are wearing that blue uniform are talking about the challenges of the day, when someone's name gets ripped apart, figure out how you let the love of Joe Bordeaux reach out of your heart to receive your loved ones. And let the love of Christ embrace your heart and your spirit as we nurture ourselves as one neighborhood and one community. We do that, we that much better under the words of Christ. I want to thank and congratulate all the honorees today because through Christ we also shine. And remember, if no one told you today, God loves you and so do I. Congratulations to all the honorees.
I just want to say one other thing about Andy King. He really was able to negotiate with the mayor's office and with the head of the council some really amazing things for the co-op. And the RFP for the Beacon program at Truman High School has been put out. The responses are in. We should have an awardee any day now. And the Beacon will be open no later than September. So Co-op City will have a place for the 55,000 people that live there to go and have youth programming and senior programming, and I couldn't be happier. Thank you, Andy, for all your efforts. It's really something we've done for so many years. Thank you. Moving on, our next honoree is Louise Giacco, and that's going to be presented by John Doyle and Captain Frager. So Captain, John, if you want to come up and take the mic, please.
Good morning, everyone. As Bob has said, and as other people have said here, the theme really of tonight is, or of today rather, has been Joe Boyko and the service he gave to the community, somebody who was very kind, somebody who never really sought any sort of recognition for his efforts. So as I was thinking around my own community and elsewhere, of someone who was very similar to Joe, somebody who made the trains run on time, as I said, somebody who wasn't really seeking the limelight, I came coming around to Louise. And I think it's pretty safe to say that City Island wouldn't run the same without her. Whenever the Chamber puts on an event, it's very clear, and again, I sometimes have the privilege of being in the back of the room and hearing people say this and that and the instructions, and sometimes some expletives get yelled at. But what you get told is you find out very quickly who's really running the show. And Louise's name always comes up. whether it's the Christmas lights or the Halloween parade or the craft sales or the dinner dance. Louise is really at the center of so many efforts on City Island. And you can count on Louise to show up to any event that supports the community. She's always interjecting some common sense that the rest of us may have missed. And not only does she do all of this, but she has to put up with Skip, which as we know isn't always the easiest thing to do. So without further ado, someone again who didn't seek this recognition and tried to talk me out of honoring her this year, but someone who's nonetheless deserving of this recognition, Louise Giacco. Thank you very much, Louise. Come on up.
Good morning, all. I just want to say thank you so much to the Board of Vets. They're always there when we need them. Also to all of our City Island friends. And to Skip, my husband, who got me into this, and we'll talk about this later. And just thank you all very much. I'm very honored. Thank you.
And can all the elected representatives come back up to the rope line to give out your numerous awards?
Go right ahead. Okay. Guys, you want to start voting?
So, I'm back. So our awards are always in unison to all the honorees today. This certificate that you're going to get, Sister Louise, comes from on this day, Wednesday the 8th. We are in the City Council recognize you for your commitment to the East Bronx and all through your family's life, all through the Bronx life, and all in your future life. Take care of that beautiful hair. All right.
And although she didn't ask me to do this, but a shameless plug, Louise is also the owner of Lickety Split, which will be opening around Memorial Day. She wanted to personally invite everybody for Ice Cream Man. Okay, our next honoree is Sister Celine Mary Flores of Providence Rest. And Sister, if you can join us up here. Much like Joe, the sister has been a life and a person of service. Another person who didn't really want to receive this award, but she made me promise that if she did accept it, that we would only speak about everyone in Providence Rest, and she would accept on behalf of Providence Rest. So for all of us, and I think many of us are at the community board meetings or other meetings in the community, we've had the chance to step through the doors of Providence Rest, which has really underwent a transformational leadership in the last decade. That has been under the leadership of the sister here. She's, again, opened her doors to the community whenever there's an event that needs to be taking place, particularly in the country club community. She is there, she is hosting, and she's making it easy on all of us to meet as a community and, providing that space of a community. And, as somebody who has had a family member recently in the care of Providence Rest, I can tell you that the standard of care there is very high, and that's leadership that's set from the top. And if we ever had somebody who was in one of our families and you had to bring them to a place for nursing home or rehabilitative care, I can tell you the place you want to send them is Providence Rest. So without further ado, sister, I want to thank you, and on behalf of the council, please come up and accept this award.
Thank you very much. Again, I do this precisely on behalf of all of us at Providence Rest who have been serving our community for over 80 years here. And I also want to say that not only is Providence Rest a lovely spot, good care place, but we are very safe because we have the 45th Precinct keeping us safe. So thank you all.
Right, look here at me.
All right, as long as we're giving plugs, I'm going to sneak one in before our next award. On your tables, there's some literature about Make-A-Wish. We recently formed the Bronx Council for Make-A-Wish, and there are a lot of children throughout the Bronx that are waiting for wish granters. And basically, a wish granter goes out, interviews the kid, and helps the Make-A-Wish Foundation fulfill their dream. Doesn't take much time. It's a very easy thing to do. You do it on your own time. It's a couple hours every few months, really, or as much as little as you want. So just take a look at the information that's on the tables, please, for Make-A-Wish. We have some representatives here from Make-A-Wish tonight. You want to just stand up and wave? Where are you? There they are. And again, the Bronx Council, and I want to thank the Borough President's Office because Make-A-Wish is going to be recognized as the Volunteer Organization of the Year at Bronx Week at the closing ceremonies just before they put up the Walk of Fame inductees. So we're really thrilled that they're doing that for us. And again, just take a look at that information that's on the table. And if you find a few hours that you have available, maybe you want to volunteer for Make-A-Wish. With that, I'm going to move on to our next awardee. Captain, come on up. Here we go. Our next awardee is Muhammad Ali. Muhammad has been a caretaker of the Batul Memorial Incorporated at Westchester Square for the last 23 years. He has honors in economics from Bangladesh. He went to college for pre-engineering in the Bronx. He was New York City Board of Ed Junior High. And 7 years train operator and 19 years supervisor for New York City Transit. That's not why we're honoring him. We're honoring him because he has reached out to the Bangladesh and Pakistani community and made them a part of our community. We all know that this has been a growing population throughout the 45th Precinct. And for a while, nobody really knew who they were. So having this outreach and this communication is really what we're all about. And I must say, Muhammad has been instrumental in bridging that gap between police and community, which is exactly what this Precinct Council is all about. I want to really thank him because he wasn't sure he could accept the award because he can't eat today because it's part of Ramadan. I wasn't aware of that, but I'm learning new things. If you'll notice on the program, next year's event is being moved up to the end of May so that we can avoid that and hopefully have more of the members of his community join us at the breakfast. So with that, please welcome Muhammad Ali up to the microphone.
Good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here. I thank everybody to make me a recognized person, and I'm really glad. I've been working with the community affairs since 1987 in this area, East Bronx, And this is the first time I've been officially recognized, and I was so excited to hear that. And then I was not really thinking I deserve for that. That I have not done that much what I should have done. And this is very inspirable for me, encouraging for me to go ahead and do the things what I've been doing for the community. This is part of my life from back home also, that I've been part of the community. I try to help the community for three purposes. One is the education, one is the safety, and other is the quality of life in the community. And I've been crying for this a long time. Since 1987, I've been in east part of this Bronx, living, and I've been part of the community corporation. I've been involved in 3 community corporations from Park Sister to Westchester Square. Eventually, last about 20 years, I've been working with this 45th Precinct. I'm really pleased, it is my pleasure to work with the 45th Precinct. That way I have found a very dedicated community affairs officer from Mr. O'Connor. I really miss him. Mr. O'Connor really was a very friend of mine back in about 15 years ago from 45th Precinct. Then Mr. Calderon is here. I think he is the community affairs from Borough. And also, I can just miss this name, Mr. John Soares. He's really a friend of mine. And at the end, it's funny to say, when Bob Beer was telling me that even you'll have to be in the breakfast party. So I was just telling him, I'm going to be in Ramadan, not eating 16 hours, 17 hours. So that falls into my Ramadan fasting time. So what I'm going to do there, you're telling me to eat and I can't eat. So he said, no, you don't have to eat, just you stay there. So eventually, Mr. John Soares, I spoke to him that what should I do? He said, you should not miss these events. You will going to be recognized for your future time. I thank everybody. I thank Mr. Commissioner to say, and also all the officials who arranged this. This is my first experience. Please forgive me. And I was going to be keep attending these places. And one of the other thing also, Mr. Councilman Mark, just before I traveled last month to Bangladesh for a situation, I just came back for a week. Just because of these events, I had to come back. And Mr. Mark, Councilman Mark Jonas was one of the inspirable person. And he just made me a community board member also, just before I left Bangladesh. So one of the things that I'm getting involved with it. I thank everybody, I thank Bob Beer. I know Mr. Bob long time. Bob is one of the person I have known eventually. Initially, about 20 years ago, I have known him as I was recognizing myself as a customer of plumbing supply. Then I got involved with him and I see him as a community person, Then I just told him, I'm not a community leader, I'm a community coordinator. From Bangladeshi and Pakistani community, I'm a coordinator, don't tell me leader. I used to tell all these captains. So many captains passed by on 45th Precinct on my way about 20 years. And I always told him, don't call me a leader because I didn't get it to that stage yet. Thank you very much all. And I'm really glad to have you.
Go right ahead, go right ahead.
I'm so sorry that I had to come back again. But it's free. It cost me that much because a few steps. I really appreciate the John Soares, his partner I miss, who used to be kidding me all the time. And